Yes guys, so we are at Frontline Fit today, as you can see here. I'm going to take you through my leg session, which is specific to me. I do have arthritis in my left knee, so we do a lot of kind of warm-up and mobilisation stuff, which I've been working very closely with Luke Miller on. So I'm going to take you through exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and I'll get some clips in there, and then afterwards we will head back and I'll give you guys some context of, as mentioned, the title of this video, who I am, what my background is, and what's led me down this path of bodybuilding and coaching. So for now guys, I'm going to get after it. I'll see you in a bit. So because of my leg length discrepancy, I have a little insole going into my left shoe. Obviously with that there is going to be tighter calves if you're constantly in that plantar flex position. So that's why, like, at the start of this we were doing a lot of like calf mobilization stuff and trying to loosen that up, but ultimately if there is that discrepancy, you kind of need to have that heel a little bit higher to balance that out. Try to address the root cause, see where the discrepancy is coming from, because it could be tightnesses elsewhere. Could be anything else that's kind of causing that shift or lateral flexion. That's why we kind of run these things concurrently. We try to manage them whilst addressing the issue, as opposed to just like masking this. We know that like the heel elevation might not be a permanent solution, but in the meantime it allows us to kind of continue to work at an even pace without that discrepancy getting worse. Because if I don't have it, I'm pushing much more through my right quad, and then the difference in my right and left quad is just going to get bigger, and then over time it's going to get harder to kind of balance those out. So that's the thought process there. These have felt much smoother since then. So when we're thinking about getting the hamstrings fully shortened, you really need to prioritize like keeping a posterior pelvic tilt, as in like tucking your pelvis back, keeping the ribs down, because your hamstrings come up the back of your legs and attach onto the back of your pelvis. So if we're dumping them forward, we have this anterior tilt, you're adding length back into the hamstrings, so you're not going to be able to get them short. So that's why in this, try to keep the ribs down, actually push back into it, not excessively. We don't want to round forward, but find that midpoint. Don't let yourself kind of flare up and take that contraction out of it by moving your pelvis. So taking your warm-up sets and feeder sets in the gym, you just want to think about like getting a feel for the movements without creating unnecessary fatigue. We're working up to 7 plates here, 12 to 20 reps. We're doing 4 plates for 5 to 6. We're doing 6 plates for 2 or 3. We'll do a single with 7. And then we're going into our high rep set. We're going into that same load with that higher rep target. If you're doing like 15, 20 reps in your warm-up sets, you're still creating fatigue that's going to take away from your performance in your main sets. So just think about getting a feel for the movement without creating that fatigue. So, as promised, a bit about myself. So I am Dara Allen. I've been coaching online now 4 years, training about 9 years, which is a rough estimation because we never really know like when we start properly training. Going to the gym 9 years, and that's kind of like where I try to steer my coaching, is like show people the mistakes that I've made and make sure, or just minimize those wasted years that I think a lot of people are still spending a lot of time on. But yeah, I've been doing this full time now about 2.5 years, prior to which I got an undergraduate degree in sports science. And I suppose the main thing that kind of drove me down this avenue of bodybuilding, coaching, physique development was when I got arthritis in my left knee when I was like 14 or 15. Had surgery on it. I was playing football at the time, and I think a lot of like young guys will know football is like your main kind of access point for like social interaction. So obviously there's like, at the age of 15 it's not that deep, but there is some loss of identity that kind of goes with like not being able to play something that you've been doing since your childhood. So that was difficult at the time, but again, grand scheme of things, not that big a deal. But yeah, regardless, you still kind of need something to replace something that has been such a big part of your life. So I ended up going to the gym. It was initially post-op just to kind of strengthen quads back up and hopefully get back to football, but that didn't really happen, as you can tell. So, but I just kind of fell in love with the process. Like, it's as cliched as it sounds, but like it literally is just kind of going in there and getting slightly better, and it's something you can see the improvement on each day. Like, whereas other sports, although kind of bodybuilding is subjective, like you versus you is rather objective. Like your logbook, what you've done the session before, your pictures from a few months ago, you can constantly have a very accurate kind of stream of assessment of progression. That's just something that I've kind of found really interesting, and I just went down rabbit holes learning from a load of people. The Irish fitness industry isn't as big, and definitely wasn't back then, but learning from guys like Gary McGowan, Larry Doyle, Paddy Farrell, Ian McGarry, learned a lot from fucking Rob Lipsett on YouTube. But over the past few years, when it kind of came to competing and getting more knowledge and getting access to kind of better quality of information, a lot of it was coming here from the UK. So I was spending a lot of money going to seminars, workshops and stuff over here, and it just made sense to move here and actually be in this environment. I think the Irish industry is definitely coming on, but it's still a long way behind what's here. So that is why we moved to Manchester a year and a half ago, about. Yeah, and it's been fucking fantastic since. So yeah, that's myself. So yeah, after we moved over here, I did have plans to compete. We ran another like 6 months off season here. It was pretty good, and then we went into prep, and I competed a couple shows this year, just back in April and May. They went well. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen the pictures, probably seen it in my previous videos as well, but that was all rather successful. So probably another year growth phase ahead of myself now, and in the meantime it's just progressing, not just like my own physique but business as well. I'm going to have a lot more content coming out for you guys, so if there's anything you want to see in particular, let me know. But I'm going to wrap it up there. Just a brief insight into myself and the dog who you can't see. But yeah, thanks for watching.